Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi. Hi Facebook. Hi YouTube. Hi Instagram. Give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and share this into my group, and then we are going to get started in just a few seconds. Say hi as you come on in. Wherever you're joining me from, say hello. I'm just going ahead and sharing this. I got something I really want to talk to you all about today. And the title, as it says, is What Makes You Unforgettable? What makes you unforgettable? And so we've got I've got a few things I want to share, and definitely want to drop a few other things as well. So as you come on in, please do say hello. I can see a few of you here on Instagram and some over on Facebook as well. Welcome everyone. I pray everybody's having an amazing day. We've got a couple of things I want to share with you today. And the topic is what makes you unforgettable. Unforgettable. Okay, so we're going to get started. Thanks everyone for joining today. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So, first of all, I want to introduce myself, first of all. Just in case you're not sure who I am, or you've never ever watched any of my live streams before, or you've never joined me, watched any of my videos, my name is Rachel-Yvonne, and I am super passionate about seeing women live the life of their dreams and be married to a man of high caliber. And one of the things that I found about this is that there aren't many people on the internet, or really in the Christian spaces, especially because I've been a minister for over 20 years now. I know it makes me sound really old, but I started in ministry as a very young child, and I've kind of like just grown into this calling, as it were. And today I want to talk to you about what makes you unforgettable. What is it that makes you unforgettable? And so, hi, Instagram, and I am over on YouTube and Facebook right now. And so it depends on where you're watching. You'll be able to follow me along. And this is a topic that I've been the Lord has really been speaking to me about this. And when it comes to this, I want you to consider, what is it that makes you unforgettable? That is actually the topic today. What is it that makes you unforgettable? And so I want to copy and paste that into the banner here on let me see, on YouTube and Facebook, so you can see. And if you're watching me on YouTube, it's fine. You still get a great show today. But I want to just say this today. What makes you unforgettable? What are the things about you? What are the traits, and how do you carry yourself in order to be unforgettable? And when it comes to this, there are some things that people kind of like always say things like about how they look and things like that, but it's actually more than that. It is more than that. It is more than how one looks. It is actually how you carry yourself, how you show up. And here are the things that you're going to hear me talk about more and more as the year continues and as we move into 2024. So today we are talking about what makes you unforgettable. I'm going to talk about embracing your biblical divine femininity. Okay, so these are the main topics that you're going to hear me share about more and more as we move on. I'm going to be also to be talking about attracting a godly masculine partner. So when I talk about things, hey, I've just started. Hi, Maria. I've just started. And I'm only just started. And I'm talking about what makes you unforgettable. And I've said this many, many times. And I want you to be clear on this. It's not necessarily about who has the best body, who's got the best hair, who looks the best, who's the prettiest girl in the room. It is not about that. It is an energy that is innate to you. It is not about you being the most physically attractive person. And I think sometimes we get caught up in this because we want to, work on ourselves. And of course, I love to talk about working on yourself, working on your appearance, working on your body, working on your hair, working on your spirit, like making sure you're doing your spiritual work and things like that. But what you've got to understand is that being unforgettable is more than skin deep. When they say beauty is more than skin deep, the Bible even said that beauty is fleeting, that you can look one way and then in 20 years you can look different. So what is it on the inside that makes you unforgettable? Because I'm going to tell you this. There are times when I have not always felt as being the best, or maybe I went to an event and I didn't have a new dress or what I thought I wanted to wear. My hair didn't come out the way I wanted, had my makeup done, and it didn't come out the way I wanted. And yet, on those occasions, I just tapped into my energy. I tapped into who God created me to be and then showed up as her. So that is something that you have to learn when it comes to being unforgettable, because we can often, the world will tell you, do this and do that and do that, which is true. Now, let's be clear. If you've been in my world for any length of time, you know that I am very much about women making sure they put their best foot forward. If you catch me at 3 a.m. in the morning, I don't look that bad. If you catch me at 12 p.m. in the afternoon down at Target or Marks and Spencer's or something, I don't look that bad. And that's because I have a level of intentionality about how I show up. And I want to say something that someone actually said to me the other day that I don't know if you're going to, that I'm going to talk to you about something that somebody said to me literally within the last 7 days. Within the last 7 days. They said, Rachel, I have never met another woman who's as intentional about her femininity than you. And they were talking about just how I showed up on like a video call. It was like a video call in the middle of the day. I was having like a what I would call a casual day. And, when I'm around the house, I like to be in really pretty clothes, even if it's just what I'm wearing in the house, because I don't believe in putting on something for somebody. I believe in being that person. And sometimes when I see my parents or I'll be at other places, they'll be like, wow, you're dressed up today, but they're used to it. And so being unforgettable is more than the looks of you and your appearance. Pretty privilege is something to celebrate, and we're grateful how God has made us. Being a woman is amazing. Being a woman is the greatest experience that we can ever have in our life. But we cannot just rely on that in order to see things happen in the world. But you must step into that divinity. This is what I mean when I say we step into that. And I've got something coming up that I want to invite you to as well. So stick around and you'll be able to hear more about that. And so when he said that to me, so he said a few things, but obviously, you know what I mean. I'm always like, keep things, to myself, and, keep those sacred moments between me and the person. But when he said that, wow, you are so intentional. And I did ask him to, actually, I was thinking in my head, I said, I would love for you to explain what that means. But he explained what it meant. And then when he said it back to me, I realized something. I realized that when it comes to femininity and stepping into who God has called you to be, what matters is not that you're the most beautiful person in the world, the person with the best figure, and you've done all the things, and all those things are important. Remember, I said that all those things are important. But what mattered to me in that moment was that the person, the caliber of person that I would want to share my life with, saw who I truly was and said, I see you. That is what is key, because who cares about what the regular person says, or this person says, or these naysayers and whatever. What matters is, are you actually getting the results that you are aligned with? And are you able to see those things happen in your life by your thoughts, your beliefs, your words, your actions, your lifestyle? It needs to be something that you actually embody, that is a lifestyle. And for me, that is what it's about. It's about actually being the woman and not trying to be or pretending to be or putting things on in order to be, but actually being. That when you speak to me on a random day, this is what comes out of my mouth. When you ask me to pray for you, I will pray with purpose or with power and in this particular way. Because when you are clear on who you won't allow anyone to dim your light. But then what I find is that a lot of women, we we get insecure because we see other people perceiving to get certain results, not realizing that every single one of us is a unique woman and every single one of us is going to attract different things into our life. And so being unforgettable for you might look like you sharing a story, a personal story. Being unforgettable for you might be putting yourself in a position that nobody else in your family has ever been in. So when you say things like, I'm going to be a millionaire, or millionaires are going to be in my family, or I don't want my children to experience generational poverty, I'm going to break this with me. When you say things like that, you are positioning yourself to be unforgettable. You are positioning yourself to say that the women that come after me, the legacy that I leave behind, people will always remember who I am because I have decided that this is what makes me unforgettable. And so going back to when this gentleman said this to me, he was like, you are like so intentional, the most intentional I've ever met. And I had to think about it for a moment because every single day, someone will say something like that to me. They will mention something, and I will just be like, oh, further confirmation. However, here's the thing. I'm never looking for confirmation or validation. You have to be careful because you will not be unforgettable if you are constantly looking for outside approval or validation. Validation is for parking and not for women. So you have to realize that I am validated, I am affirmed, I am stable in who I am because that's who God has made me. Full stop, period. That needs to be the end of it. Because what I found is when we start to think that, oh, if my husband doesn't tell me I'm pretty today, then I'm not pretty. I'm not saying that we should be with men who don't pay us compliments because that's not very nice either. It's not nice to be with someone who doesn't notice like how amazing you are and the effort you make and things like that. But we must not be looking for it. It must just be a lifestyle. So when you say things like, I am unforgettable, I'm magnetic, I'm irresistible, and those are names of like programs of mine as well. I've got one called Magnetic, one called Irresistible, and I've got a new one coming up called Unforgettable. When you start saying these things in your life, you will start to call in the energy of what you're saying. I don't think you've got to. I don't know how else I can say this in a clearer way, but in order to know that it makes you unforgettable, it means that you must believe it about yourself. Because again, if you're always waiting for people externally from you to validate you, then what happens when they stop saying it? Or what happens when they forget? Or it becomes so normal that you're just like, well, no one said it. This is the key here. And I'm going to move on to something very, very important. So please do share this as well. And so it's not that I've not heard when he said that to me, it wasn't that I'd never heard the compliment before. And I've got some notes here so I stay on track. You know, me as a preacher, sometimes I can just be like going onto another world. Hello, so excited to be here. It wasn't because I hadn't heard it before. So you've got to be key. When you start to hear these things as normality in your life, it was because he saw into the depth of who I am as a woman. And he felt the intentionality of how I live and how I do everything. You need to be the kind of woman who is intentional about every part of her day, every part of her life. It shouldn't be that you're only intentional about this, because what I found is that a woman who is grounded, self-assured, confident, knows who she is in God, is strong in her faith, is clear about her direction, it shows up in almost every area of her life. It shows up. It will show up in your money. It will show up in your health. It will show up in the energy that you display in the world. It will show up in other areas. It won't just be in one. Therefore, If you want to see more of manifestations of your dreams coming to pass in before the end of the year, because time is what is time? I've said this before, and in the Bible, it talks about kairos moments and chronos moments, and these are Greek words. Kairos moments are divine occurrences, supernatural timing. And a chronos moment is like chronological. So how time goes, it's whether it's 6 o'clock where you are, or 7 o'clock where you are, or midnight where you are. That is chronological time. But when God steps in, it doesn't matter what is actually happening in that time and space. When God steps in, when you allow your divine power to step in, it will make such a difference. And when you realize, wow, I am a move of God. There was this saying, I think that the founder of the Salvation Army says this, I believe. I can't remember who said it, but anyway, someone said this about, I'm not waiting for a move, I'm a move. When you allow yourself to think that, you will see that every interaction, every meeting, every date, every connection, you realize I'm a move of God. It allows you to position yourself for success. And when you say that I'm unforgettable, this is what you're saying. And it's not about the surface compliments. So I'm moving deeper into this now. This is more into the energetics of what I'm talking about. It's not about the surface level compliments that we get to hear. When you're beautiful, you're going to hear this all the time. You walk down to the store, you go to the gas station, you go to the store, you go to church, you go wherever, someone's going to tell you that you look amazing. That is normal. That is our normal way of living. So it's not about the surface level, but it's about seeing for the essence of who you truly are, a woman who lives for a place of purpose, and a woman who knows how to hold space for the life and love that she deserves. So holding space for that means we're not wasting time. For those of you that are single, you're not wasting time on random dates because you're hungry and you need dinner. Women like us do not do those things. You don't just go meet someone because you're bored. You're not bored. You have hobbies, you have friends, you have other things to do. You're working on yourself. So when people put on the internet this kind of content, it's not relevant to you. It's not relevant to you. It's not relevant to you. So what I would invite you to do, if you notice, I tend not to engage in those kind of things, and I get sent these things all the time. My clients send me them, friends send me them. We talk about them privately, but I'm very careful about what I lend my voice to, because not everything is for me. Not everything is worthy of my energy. Not every conversation is worthy of my time or my energy. There has even been a time where sometimes I have, dated men who are, very like famous or whatever and well known and just like a different caliber and so on. And this one time, there was a gentleman, we were due to go out, and for some reason, it wasn't like he ghosted me. It was like he just didn't show up on that day, right? And you know what I said? I said, you know what? That's fine. You know why? Because certain types of men are used to women just chasing them down, accepting anything. And I was like, it's fine. Actually, it's fine, because I bless and release. And then you know what happened? Because I didn't say anything, they tried to call me. I saw the call and I didn't pick up, because what is there to say? What is there to say? What is there to say? The energy, you have to know that your energy is not up for negotiation. That regardless of what other people are doing, you don't need to join in with what they're doing. And yes, sometimes you'll get upset. Yes, sometimes you'll think that, am I worth, is this worth me continuing on? But when you decide that you're unforgettable and then you focus on what's actually working, you focus on the positive things. And so rather than me getting upset about that, I was like, oh, that's fine. I know what you're used to, but that's not going to be coming from me. And then you focus, but this is what women do. Sometimes we focus on that person and we focus on that person. We want to prove to them that I'm worthy, I'm lovable. You're never gonna, not turn up for me again. You're never gonna do this. You're always gonna do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna prove, I'm gonna prove. And then you end up sometimes making a bad situation of good opportunities on the other side. But we get so focused on trying to prove over here that you're worthy and things like that, and chasing, pursuing, taking on roles that were never meant for us. But when you decide that I'm going to align myself only with what I'm actually going to call in, and so sometimes you have to take a look at yourself and say, wait, am I actually acting the way that I should be? Is this behavior becoming of a queen? Is this behavior, is this mindset becoming of a woman who knows who she is? Is this the way that I'm speaking, the way that I'm living, the way that I'm dressing, the way that I'm conducting myself? Are these becoming of the kind of woman that I say I am? Are these thought processes, these beliefs, are they becoming of the kind of woman that I know I am? Which is why the question today is, what makes you unforgettable? What makes you unforgettable? And there are three things that I want to share with you today about being unforgettable and what that actually looks like in real life. Okay, so I've written it down so I don't go off. And so I want to be clear here. The first thing is about intentional femininity is magnetic, and it's not about being perfect. Perfection is something that you're never going to attain. So the moment you understand that I'm actually never going to be perfect, I'm actually always going to be me. And the best version of me is what you're going to get. And so when you realize that, it then you take the pressure off, because you're like, oh, I'm not trying to be perfect. I just want to be a better version than I was yesterday. You want to be a better wife than you were yesterday, a better mother, a better sister, better business owner, a better cook, whatever the things are that you're doing in your life. You want to do those better today than you did yesterday. That's it. Perfection will keep you from even getting married. Did you know that? Perfection as a single person can keep you from getting married, because men are not perfect. Judy Sales says this in one of my favorite books, which is in my book club. If you join my membership, you'll see it in there. I talk about the seduction mystique. And in that book, she says, men are not perfect, they're wonderful. So when you see them as that, rather than trying to look for perfection, and you yourself are not perfect. We're wonderful, but we're not perfect. We're feminine and soft, but we're not perfect. We're loving, we're beautiful, we're sexy, we're all the things, but we're not perfect. And when you realize that perfection is not actually what I am going for, I'm going for the best version of me. I'm going for being the best version of me. I'm going for being better than I was yesterday. Not looking back. There's a song by Israel that says, I'm not going back. I'm moving ahead. I'm here to declare to you, my past is over in you. All things are made new. And then it talks about moving forward. You've got to understand that when you are moving forward, you're not saying that you're perfect, but what you're realizing is that all of the things I've experienced, everything in my life just makes me even more unforgettable. Do you know that when I start to tell people, especially if they've not known me a long time and are interested in getting to know me more, and we talk about stories and experiences, they're always like, wow, really? Wow, really? Because when you start to uncover who someone really is, all the parts of your story, whether it's messy or great or whatever, having no shame about your story and your journey will actually help you to be unforgettable. That's not even a key that I had written down, but that just came to me from God. That actually, when you allow yourself to get rid of shame and guilt around any part of your story, that will make you unforgettable. And I want to pause for a moment here, because what if one of the reasons why you are being forgettable is because you're like everybody else? got the same hair as everybody else, you wear the same clothes as everybody else, you say the same things as everybody else, you do the same things as everybody else, you're just like everybody else. But what if you actually said, I am not going to be like everybody else. I'm going to be the version of me. What is that quote? There is no one that can be more you than you. There's a reason why you were created uniquely and distinctly. It wasn't an accident. And so being unforgettable as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as all the roles that we find ourselves in, you will begin to see that actually he loves me for me. He's not loving you because you're the carbon copy of somebody else. He's loving your energy, the softness that you bring, the wisdom that you bring to his life, the peace that you bring, or the or the drama, if he likes that sort of thing. Like whatever it is about you that makes you unforgettable, don't lose those things. We are fast becoming a society where all women look the same, sound the same, smell the same, are the same. But actually, what makes you you is what he loves about you. If you wanted that other person, he'll be with that other person. That's very simple. And I've learned the art of this, of being unforgettable and not allowing myself to shrink back, even when it feels like you are in the minority. And I'm not talking about being minority just by being black or whatever. I mean, actually, where your mindset is in the minority, the way you are is in the minority. Maybe you're the black sheep of your family. Maybe you're like me and you're the oldest child. You know, all these kind of things. There's a lot of things that comes into it, and I've noticed there's a pattern there that starts to develop. And being unforgettable is realizing that these are the things that actually make me me. And so I do have a 3-day masterclass that's coming up, which I'm excited, called Unforgettable. And it's about becoming and being the woman that he prays for. Being the woman he prays for. And we're going to do 3 days together. It is only $22. And if you're on YouTube or Facebook, the link is right there. And as you join me, I'm going to see your name come up on my emails, and I want to celebrate you. So if you're joining me while we're live and you're like, Rachel, I don't want to wait, I want to register now. As soon as I see your name come up, I'm going to celebrate you. I won't say your name out loud, but I will celebrate those who register for this. It's only $22, and it's a 3-day masterclass called Unforgettable. Anyway, let me get back to, oh yes, okay, I will send you the link, Susanna, right after we are done. Let me make sure I've got a picture. And anybody else that's here, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, the link is right there. It's only 22, so you can definitely join us. Let me just get this now. Susanna, I'm going to go ahead and DM you right after. But yes, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, the link is there. It's going to be in November. It's going to be 3 parts, and it's going to be live, and you get the replay. You get the replay forever. It'll be the 2nd week in November. Okay. I don't have all the details just yet, but I know I'm doing it. And you get the replays, and you can ask questions as well. We're having 3 days as well as Q&A. So if you want to join that, it's only 22, so nothing to lose. And the link is right there. So the first one is intentionality. Femininity is magnetic and not about being perfect. And I think it's important that I say that, because for some of you, even me just saying that has freed you from so many things. Even me just saying you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have a perfect story. When people, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to say this. You know, when people online are like, oh, if you're over 35, if you've got kids, if you've been married before, blah, 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 you've reached a wall. And there's no wall for women. There's actually no wall, but we'll talk about that another day. Those are lies, 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 lies. There are lies. Those are lies. Those are lies. Okay. So when people say, oh, you're over the hill, it's too late for you, nobody's going to want you, those are lies. When you show up as your most unforgettable self, there is nothing that you can't receive into your life. Literally. I don't know how else I can tell you this, but there is no limit apart from what you put on yourself. Okay. And then, like I said, when I was told about, oh, Rachel, you're so intentional, it's about intentionality around, he realized the way I think, the way I speak, the way that I show up in private and in public. This is the key as well, because some of you, I don't know if you see the reel. I saw a reel, someone sent it to me the other day, where it said this lady was like all dressed up and she looked very good and, just amazing looking while they were dated. And then it showed what she looks like afterwards when you get married. And when you got married, she was like, just looked really rough. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. And I was saying how sad it is that that is how marriage is perceived. And I don't believe that has to be true for all of us. I'm not around women who do things like that. I don't surround myself with women like that. The women that are watching these lives, you don't behave like that because you know what it means to be unforgettable. It's not about a man, it is about your energy. So that's why even when we're all together as girls, there are women on here that we've shared rooms and we show up as beautiful and as amazing when it's just the girls as we do when it's our husband. And you've got to know that this is why he said that to me about my intentionality. That is why. And we've got to get clearer on this. When you hold that, what is it? Your femininity is not performative. I have a whole video where I talked about being feminine for the right man is not a real thing. That's not a real thing. Or when people say that, oh, I'm waiting for a man to put me in my soft lifestyle, crap, full of crap. There's absolute crap. I'm not saying that you won't be married to a man who elevates you, because elevation is always the key. But what I'm saying is you're soft regardless. Your softness is not circumstantial. Is it easier to be soft when you have more money? Yes. Is it easier to be soft when you have a strong man around you who's providing and protecting and covering? Yes. However, the key is realizing that God does that for you first. And you never have to prove anything to God. You never have to show up to God perfect. You never have to pretend before him. He likes you flaws and all. He gives you everything regardless of how bad or how good you are. Those things are not circumstantial. So circumstantial femininity isn't a real thing. Wearing a dress won't make you more feminine. It has to come from the spirit that you carry. And whilst there are patterns, so feminine women do tend to wear more dresses, whatever, do wear, like there are markers, yes. However, it won't make you more if you do those things, okay? If you're around me, you know I don't wear trousers, don't wear pants, I'll wear shorts if I'm working out if I have to, but that's why I prefer to work out in private where I can, if I need to, I can wear that and I don't have to. So you have to see for yourself what that looks like. It's not about being performative. When you hold that quiet confidence, you don't need to strive for perfection. And I said that already about the perfection. Your presence alone will captivate. And I want you to imagine this. If you can close your eyes, you can do this. Imagine what it would look like if you could walk into a room and everybody is captivated by you. What would that feel like? For some of you, you're like, that's scary. I never want to walk into a room and have that happen to me. I would hate to have all eyes on me. How about this? What if you walk into the room and he sees you? I don't know who he is, but you know who he is. And the whole evening, all he sees is you. And it's not because you're wearing the perfect dress. You've got the perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect shoes. Like, you're just perfect. It's not because of that. But something about you is unforgettable. Ooh, I feel juicy. That's so good. The second thing, and I've only got two more, and then I'm going to shoot off. I didn't realize I was going to be on this long. But we're going to carry on because the energy and the vibes are so good tonight. The second thing is divine femininity leaves room for pursuit. So most women are trying to fill every gap. We're trying to make things happen. You're doing all the things. You're making sure you're wearing this. You're making sure you're going there. You're going to go to this bar. You're going to go to this church conference. You're going to make sure you comment on his post, and you're going to do all the things. Trust me, I know because I have been there before. I was that girl because you know why? Because I am naturally an extrovert. I'm an extrovert. I'm a performer. I've been singing on stages and television since I was a child. I preach, I speak, I love that. I love all of it. And I had no qualms about shooting my shot or, positioning yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. We'll talk about that like another time. But I was very pushy and like just like showing up and making sure, da 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 da. And yeah, that gets results. Don't get me wrong. That will get you results. But will it get you the results that you're born for? There's a difference when you're with a man, and I can only say this from experience, and also when I speak to my clients, especially if they've had more than one relationship or more than one marriage, where if you're in a because it's easy to be in a relationship. Let's not lie to ourselves. It's easy. If you want to be with someone, you can just be with someone. There's people like, you know, just look at all the screenshots or look at Reddit and you'll see threads of like this man did this and he's homeless and I've got my boyfriend's living on my couch. And trust me, you can be in a relationship tomorrow. You can be married tomorrow if you want to be, if you're desperate. However, there's a difference when you are with a man who truly sees that femininity in you. When that man is like, I'm in a dream. Rachel, you're a dream. You're perfect. And when he says that, he doesn't mean you're perfect. He's perfect for him. That's it. When Adam woke up from his dream, the Bible says he looks at her and he says, you're a woman because you came out of me. He knew straight away. It wasn't like, oh, you're so perfect because, you did all the things and you've done all the things and you've proved your worth. Eve didn't prove anything. She had to prove anything. She literally just woke up. Adam woke up and said, oh, yep, you're my wife. You're my wife. You're my wife. I want you. This is it. End of story. Let's go ahead and populate the earth. Obviously other things happened and transpired and here we are today. But the point is, when he looks at me and he says, Rachel, you are perfect. You are a dream. You're the perfect plus one. Wow, you're so amazing. Actually, you are irresistible. I had someone said that to me. I had my irresistible seminar. If you joined that, you know how amazing that was. I had irresistible seminar, which I was promoting, and I got a text and they were like, so obviously, I don't read too much about my private life, but it's relevant here. And got a text and the text said, you really are irresistible. And I had to laugh because, that was a program that I had. And these are the things that just become a natural part of your life. And you're never like, what's the word? Even though I hear these things every day, and because I'm live right now, I'll be getting texts saying all this just because like, that's just the way they are. So because this is something I hear every day, I'm still super grateful. You can see my energy shifts every time I mention something someone said, I'm like, oh, gooey, because it does light me up. But even though it's normal, do you see the difference? I'm not like, oh my gosh, he said I was pretty. Ugh. Like, I'm bored. I'm not bored. I'm energized. You know why? Because it's a reflection of how I see myself. It's a reflection of what I know belongs to me. It's a reflection of the life that I am creating with the Lord. That's the energy that we create together. The Bible says when God created the earth, he looks around and he says, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is very good. Oh, that's good, that's good. That's the energy that we're dealing with. We're dealing with the energy of the creator. And so he looks and said, it's good. So I'm looking around my life and saying, this is good. Hey, Rachel. This morning, I was doing something. I was with my mum and my dad, and we foster. My parents foster, and so they got two little boys, and the baby, of course, is always like obsessed with me. That's just my life. And mum was like, me and my mum look alike. We look like twins, and so I was like, oh, does he know the difference? And he knows the difference, and he wanted me. And we were laughing about that. And then we were talking about my skin. I was like, oh, I think my skin looks really good today. And she was laughing because I do that. Like, I will be like, oh, yeah, I'm pretty today. And they're just like, this is just Rachel. And it's not, and the thing is, it never comes across as conceit or arrogance because there's a softness behind that. Even as you're watching this, you're not thinking, oh, Rachel's full of herself. You're like, wow, wow, that's interesting. And it's not because of boasting or arrogance, but it's the difference between when a woman has confidence and she has that softness and she carries herself with this godfidence, as it were, and this ability to know who she is. I think when you deeply know who you are, you will start to be unforgettable. I want to wrap up because I'm going on a bit longer than I thought I would do. And here is the thing. We're not playing games. So some people are asking, when you talk about pursuit and when you talk about the dating space or courtship, even in marriage, is it a game? It's never a game. Some people are playing games, but you are not playing games. You are not the type to be playing games. And if someone tries to play games with you, you remove yourself from their game. That is what I have done many times. Remove myself from the games. I'm not participating in games. This is not about a game. And if it was a game, listen, you create the rules and you make sure that you are the main character in that game. If you're going to play it, you're going to play it well. Amen? All right. That's what I thought. So it's not about this lying or pretending. We're not under any facades. We're not pretending to be anybody. We're not showing up as this fake person. It's bringing out your softness, your uniqueness. Those are the things that make you unforgettable. The truth is, the man that you will marry, and for those of you who are married, I really pray that this lights a fire in your marriage as well. Okay. The one that will honor and cherish you isn't looking for a woman who can do it all. He's looking for a woman who knows how to be. This is important. You know, there's a song by Whitney Houston where she says, I'm every woman, it's all in me. Anything you want done, baby, I'll do it naturally. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah. I love that song, but it's incorrect. I'm not every woman. It's not all in me. Period. Not interested in being every woman. I'm not interested in it being all in me. I'm interested in being me. And you might say, oh, it's just a song. It's not just a song because why do I remember it 30 years later? Why do you know the words? As I said it, you were singing it in your head. You heard Whitney singing it in your head because that's how powerful lyrics and things that we've allowed to become the sound of a generation impact the way that we think. So when you say that I'm unforgettable and you're not aligning yourself with those lyrics, Whitney says, I'm every woman, it's all in me. That sounds like a recipe for disaster to me. It also sounds like overdoing it. It also sounds like trying to prove yourself. And it's not just a song because, like I said, we remember the words 30 years later. These are things that we don't even know are going into our subconscious, and we're perpetuating that because in your marriage, you're trying to be everything. You're trying to be this, trying to be that, trying to do that, not realizing that actually your husband really just wants you to be like he's married you for you. And remember the type of men that we're always talking about. Want to be clear. There are different types of marriages, there are different types of men, but you know, if you're watching this, what type of men I'm only talking about. High caliber men. And if you have my book, The 5 Traits of a Husband, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's free. And if you want that, you can comment free book and I'll send it to you. But if you're on anywhere, it's in my bio on Instagram and it's also in my pinned posts, I think, on Facebook. So you can go ahead and get that for free. It has the 5 traits in there. And it's not what he should be. It's not what he could be. It's what he must be. Another book I highly recommend is What He Must Be to Be Married to My Daughter by Vodi Balcom. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He has a very great book called What He Must Be to Marry My Daughter. And so if you want to read that, that will be another great book as well. And again, it isn't a game, all right? It's powerful. And that's why certain women have this effortless, unforgettable nature about them. But it's not necessarily effortless because it's something that you co-create as you live. As you live more life, you start to embody this, you start to be this, you start to see the results of this. And even for those of you who are married, you can find that you will light up the next part of your marriage when you start to ignite this in yourself. I've had wives who've been married for years or married a couple of years, whatever, got children, no children, doesn't matter, come into one of my programs or do a coaching program with me, like a one-on-one. And literally, one of my favorite testimonials is from one of my friends. And she says, my husband calls me his trophy wife. And I was like, oh my God, the exact words of what we talk about, what we affirm, what we love to say. He was like, you're my trophy wife. And I was like, oh my gosh, if that isn't another sign of confirmation, I don't know what else is. And then whatever happens after that, it is what it is. But what I'm saying is, in those moments when we get to embody that, when we get to taste the goodness of what it's like to just be in that sweet spot. And the final thing I want to share with you is number 3, authenticity over performance. Whew, that's really good. I wonder who wrote that. Me, I wrote that. Authenticity over performance. We're not performing. When you know you're unforgettable, there's no need to perform. You just walk in and you be. That's not correct English, but I know you understand what I mean. You walk in and you command attention, not because you're trying to force it or trying to make yourself be seen. You don't have to make yourself be seen. And just because I'm an extrovert, it doesn't mean you need to be. It's got nothing to do with that. Just because I'm a singer, a performer, it doesn't mean you must be. In actual fact, we're saying no performance. This just needs to be who you are. The other day, not too long ago, we had this surprise dinner for my dad. He's been sick quite a few times in the last few years. And, some friends of ours from church, they wanted to celebrate him because he's a bishop. He's an apostle. He's planted lots of churches. He runs a Bible school. He's been all over the world. And he's just my dad's pretty amazing. And so they wanted to celebrate him. And while we were there were a few times when, different things happened. And I had a couple people walk up to me and they were like, wow, Rachel, you're really like, there's something very womanly about you. And I know what they meant. It was the language of what we're speaking about today. It was the language of what we're speaking about today. But they didn't have the same words as what, we say in our worlds, right? But when they said it, I laughed inside. I said, oh, thank you. And someone else said to me, oh, I love the way you carry yourself. And I said, thank you so much. And I left it at that. I didn't say, oh, what do you mean? Like, don't degrade the compliments. Sometimes you do that. You will degrade the compliment. You will lower the compliment so much that the person wishes they didn't even bother to compliment you because you have just gone over the top. So authenticity over performance. And again, if you want to join us for the 3-day masterclass, it is called Unforgettable. It's going to be in November. Not quite sure of all the details, all the times yet. It's going to be 3 days. It's only $22. You get the replays and you get to ask questions. So if you want to join, the link, comment on here on Instagram if you want the link. The link is here, right there on YouTube and Facebook, okay? Authenticity over performance. I literally just commented, I mentioned that Whitney Houston song. And in my notes, I've got, it gets exhausting trying to be everything, doesn't it? When you are running from here to there, you're trying to do everything, trying to be everything, trying to show up as this, trying to show up as that. It gets very exhausting. But when you stop performing and really say, who am I in this moment? Like, what is this season of my life? Am I wife in this season? Am I mother and wife? What is happening? And when you're able to do that, you're not taking off hats. I don't believe in taking off hats. What I believe in is positioning. Positioning yourself in such a way that your life is supported well. And so he's not looking for someone who's trying to be everything. It is about showing up. Here's the key here, as your true self. And I think I have said this at least 20 times in this live stream, because you've got to be clear on who you're showing up as. And when you are authentic, when you show up as who you were born to be, you will see much better results in your life than when you try to show up as this famous person or this person or this blah, 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 blah. Life as a woman is not one size fits all. You bring your unique edge to the table. You bring your unique self to the world. And I want to say this in closing. When it comes to this 3-day seminar, it's called Unforgettable, the Woman He Prays For. Because it's more than just being a girlfriend or just being a good woman. It's the one that he prays for. The woman he prays for, where he's like, God, I need a wife. I want, I've got this list, I've got this. And he's searching. You are the woman he prays for. Those things make you unforgettable. We're going to talk about how to step into this place with ease and a place of feminine power. And you know me, when I want to be clear, I am making sure that my notes are here, because I feel the Spirit of God so strongly on this live that I don't know where direction we can go. And I want you to get into this place where you don't have to strive or perform. And I've spoken about this a few times over tonight. And you're going to learn how to embody this kind of authenticity and magnetic presence that doesn't chase, but it attracts. Okay. And so as we close out, I'm going to pray, and then we're going to definitely wrap up. Let me shift a little bit here. Oh, my bones are clicking. My bones are clicking. What I need you to understand this is, when it comes to being unforgettable, the energy of a woman who's unforgettable, it's not that you're, again, we talked about this, no performing, no striving, no acting, no proving. Don't have to prove yourself. When you know who you are as a woman of God who follows the blueprint that was set for you of who you are, your unique personality. I mentioned today about being an extrovert. I mentioned today about being a performer. All these things, all the things that make up my story help me to be unforgettable. And I want to teach you that in the seminar. It's a 3-day workshop, masterclass, seminar. I don't care what you want to call it. Could be a challenge as well. 3 days for $22 in November. And more details will be coming. But because it was burning on me so much today, I wanted to share, and I wanted to just drop it out there into the world. And as soon as you're ready to drop it, I just know. This is what I want to, this is what I know. I know that the women who feel this strongly today, you are going to step into a new level of being. That's what I feel. I feel this because sometimes when it gets towards the end of the year, and also we just had the Jewish New Year as well, there's a lot of things that start moving around. There's a lot of things shifting in the world right now. I don't know if you can feel it, but I can feel it. I'm sitting here getting like massive chills right now. There's a lot of energy shifting around. There's a lot of conversations around different things. But what I really want to know today is, what makes you unforgettable? What are the pieces of the puzzle where when he sees you, he says, where have you been? I literally had someone say that to me. Rachel, where were you 20 years ago? Where were you? And I said, you know what? 20 years ago, I wasn't the woman that you see before you right now. 20 years ago, this girl wasn't here. So this is the time. Maybe it's not the timing for you, but it's the timing for me. And that's the thing as well. When you are unforgettable, for the single ladies that are on here, When you are unforgettable and you walk into this and you see yourself in this way, you will no longer be super sad about different opportunities, especially as it relates to romance, where it doesn't quite go the way that you thought it would go. Because you'll realize that it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. That all of this is a part of the journey that I'm on. Exactly, Josie. The very best version of you is what you are today. And we have choices. For those of you that join the seminar as well, I think I'm going to share some more like private parts about my story and things like that, that you would only know if you know me in real life or you've known me a long time. And what I've realized is that we have choices here. You could either choose that I'm going to stay and I'm going to be stuck. People like to use the word stuck. I'm going to believe that it's not possible for me. I'm going to believe that I'm older, so I can't get this, or I've got children, or I've divorced, or never had a relationship, or I'm a virgin, or I used to be in the streets. Whatever I don't care where you what I'm talking about is for the woman from this end of the spectrum and this end of the spectrum and everything in between. Single, married a few times, divorced, children, no children, don't even want children, can't have children, whatever. All the things. It doesn't matter your relationship status, your age, your background, or even your faith. None of those things really matter. What matters is, am I choosing to step into what I call divine femininity? Am I choosing to step into who God has called me to be in this moment? So if that's you, I want you to let me know. And also for the gents that are on here, I always open up the opportunity for any of the gentlemen that watch or just like to support what I'm doing. You can send me a message and you can sponsor 2 or 3 spaces. Actually had that happen for my last seminar. And so if you'd like to do that, that is another way that you can even allow more women to get into their feminine energy. I know that men who watch my lives or watch my content or whatever, a lot of women in your life are not as soft as they could be. And one of the ways that you can help them do that is by allowing them to join my world, be in my spaces, get coaching with me, etc. And you will see them shift. You'll see them shift. If you want to see better women in your life, then you create structures that support them. That is what masculine energy does. Masculine energy is the structures, the systems. And those things help to underpin society. And so one of the ways that you can support what we're doing is by sponsoring someone, maybe for this particular masterclass or for something else. And you're like, hey, I've got some friends. I'd love to let them do some coaching with you. Great. There's no judgment here. What you've got to realize is that the goal is never perfection, but it's always a moving forward. I sang that song earlier about this moving forward, about this idea of shifting into your next level. And it's not about striving. It's really about, I've realized that I get more when I do less. That's another key. I'm dropping so many truth bombs tonight that I don't know, if you're not taking notes, you probably should watch this again. Okay? Because the more that you understand how rich your life is, oh, what a privilege it is to live. And then you start to see those things manifest in your life even more and even more as you continue on. All right. So I look forward to seeing those of you that are going to join me for Unforgettable. If you would like the information, send me a message if it's not clear. On Instagram, I paid attention to those of you that asked me for the link. So I'm going to send that to you in just a moment. But you can just DM me, send me a message. I am very, very much answering my messages. And so I can't wait to connect with you all. And I can't wait to see you all again soon. Bye, Instagram. And bye, Facebook and YouTube. I'll see you guys soon.